Hey guys, welcome back to the Hammer Down Pros tabletop. Oh, I guess I should say welcome myself back because I've been going for a little while. I've been doing some things. I've been busy. You know, real life happens. Maybe one day I'll do this for a living, but right now, you know, work and whatever. So, as promised, I said we were going to do. I said we were going to do an ugly knife video. I'm true to my word. And the thing about knife people is we will pull out our best, most beautifulest and wonderfulest knife and let you see it. And everybody goes, oh, and that's what happens. You know, you're not going to bring an ugly girl to the dance. That's what's happening. So now here's the rule. These are ugly knives, but there are a few in here that I actually think are pretty useful. They're brutes, but they do good. Like an old pickup truck. You know, it's beat up, it's rusty, it's making a lot of noise, but you can get use out of it and it actually does, you know, whatever. So let's get right into it. So my first knife that, and also some knives were purchased, some knives were, you know, given to me, but irregardless, they're in the collection, so here we are. And they're in the condition they're in as in storage, which adds and accentuates the ugliness in some cases, the dustiness or possibly a little bit of rust. But I want to just be real. So this is real. This is me being, don't shame me. Don't you shame me. Let's be honest, because y'all got some gruesome things out there. So first things first, here we go with this Sheffield knife that I believe somebody gave to me. So here's a Sheffield, and I just think it's a ugly knife. I just look at it. Look at that. I mean, it. Truth be told, it's one of the big fishing knives. It was in a fishing bag. I lent it to somebody. They turned it back over to me this way. I'm ashamed of the rust and the crustiness of it, but it's a knife that, you know, if he would have kept it, I probably would have paid him to keep it. I didn't want it back, but I was like, oh, he was like, oh, here go your knife. I was like, oh, thanks. Oh, great. So there's my Sheffield, and I mean, it's a cheap knife. You can get them at Walmart or whatever, and oh boy, there's one of my ugly knives. So now this knife right here, weird story. I saw this knife sticking out of a bale of hay. You had some guys that were taking like hay to like a farm or whatever, and the truck rode past me, and I guess they had it up there to cut the strings on the bales of hay, and it was sticking in the bale of hay. I tried to blow the horn and let the guy know, hey man, you got it, but he was moving so fast with the hay on the back of the truck, he didn't, you know. So about maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 miles up the road, maybe a mile up the road or a mile and a half, I saw the knife by the side of the road, and I could see it. It was a nice clear day. And I pulled over and I said, man, you know, that's that knife that was sticking. And here it is. Here that knife is. As you could tell, it's a handmade knife. I don't even know how it was probably useful to them. It has a pretty good edge on it. They were using it. It's a work knife, and they probably just were using it to cut the bales cut the strings on the bales of hay. So, hey, you know, but she is not pretty. But she probably is a hard worker. It's a good knife. Good knife. All right. Oh, now here's one of my favorite. A long time ago, Bud K used to have these knives for sale. I think it was Bud K. It wasn't Knife Country or nothing like. It was Bud K, and they used to have these knives. And this knife was $4.99. And this is like 10, 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. And I bought 2 of them. I don't know what happened with the other one. But this one, man, it is just a hunk of probably tool steel, and it's heavy. It has an edge on it. It's pretty good. You can cut rope and whatever. But I always said I was going to actually put a butcher's edge on this knife and just sharpen it up, and definitely sharpen the top edge and here, and man, it's just a brute of a knife. It's ugly, but I like it. I liked it when I first got it. You see, I cord wrapped it about 15 years ago, 15, 16 years ago, with this crazy looking red paracord. I had a friend back in the day, before I met my buddy Joe, I had a friend back in the day actually make me a thin Kydex sheath. This was when guys first started doing it, and the sheath is not actually to protect the knife. It's actually the knife from anything. It's actually designed to protect you from the blade, so you can kind of tuck it and throw it in a bag or whatever. This is a pretty good camp knife if you wanted to have a camp knife. It needs to be cleaned up, sharpened. Again, I said I dug these things out. I just wanted to present them as is. But yeah, I could see getting it on a grinder and putting a nice little cleaver edge on it. Well, no, maybe a chef's edge on it or something a little sharper. But yeah, one of my ugly knives, actually one that I like. Yeah, and the sheath is pretty good. It's held up. I don't use it too much, but I always liked it. I always liked the use of a brute knife. It's a brute. Now, I can't remember where I got this one from. I'm just going to leave it there for a minute. I want to say that I bought it with a collection. Remember when they used to have like the 1-800 numbers? In the middle of the night, you were able to find that channel on your cable channel, and they would sell you like 50 knives for $50 or something like that. Like, I think there was Smoky Mountain Knife Works and whatever, and they sold a lot of knives from that company that shall not be named. Rhymes with cost, but you know the name of the company. I never bought their knives again. I think a friend of mine bought a collection, and I bought this knife from him. I thought the knuckle guard was cool, but it has a pretty good leather sheath that's held up, but man, is it ugly. That is an ugly damn knife. What in the Prince of Persia? What is going on? What was I thinking? And the brass poster, and look at the corrosion there. We got the patina coming on the brass now, because like I said, I pulled these out of storage. Again, I could have prettied them up, but I'm keeping it 100 with you. Do not shame me. I'm keeping it 100 with you. And this is a Chippewa. This is a Chippewa. There's the Indian and Chippewa symbol. And somebody looks like they ran that old cord from when you used to go to summer camp to make wallets through the holes. Even though the stitching held up pretty good, the leather is pretty good. I can't complain about the leather, but the knife itself, ugh. Gee, what in the actual hell was I? And even now it's too small for. Don't shame me. Don't shame. I'm sharing this with you. We're friends. I want us to be together on this, and you know. It's like, you know, we're opening ourselves. I'm revealing and exposing myself to you. So that's one of my other. Now, here's a name brand knife that I found interesting. It actually still has the string on it from when I brought it from the collection. I bought it from a collection from a knife collector and his wife, and I bought the whole collection. It's a Mueller. Name brand knife, pretty good. I think they're out of Spain. It's whatever. However, I just think that this is just an ugly knife. It isn't. I think I have like 3 Muellers, and this Hornet is just ugly. It is an ugly knife. It's ugly. The sheath's ugly. It's offensive to me. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you had to say there were uglier knives, there probably are. It probably has some functionality. You hit the finger choils here, and then here, and I guess you could. It's double-edged. So what is it trying to do? Is it trying to be tactical? Is it trying to be like a bushcraft knife? What is it trying to do? It has this oversized. I guess that would be micarta, and then it's rounded. If you can look at it from the top, it's rounded. I don't have and it has a lanyard thing. It's just, to me, even the wording, like the etching of the words, it's just an ugly font. It's just this knife just is. I always thought it was unattractive. I never used it. I thought it was unattractive. Knife. The sheath, look at that. You got double, triple stack that look like leather sheath, and then it has the recess thing. Then the Mueller knives icon or whatever there. just horrible. There's no presentation, you know, nobody worked on that. Nobody worked on that. Nobody worked on the beauty of that. It just seems thrown together. But it's a name brand knife, and it is sharp, and it's functional. So I don't know. Whatever. Now this knife right here, I don't even know what this is. It says USC on it. This is again another fishing knife, and actually it's another fishing knife, folding fishing knife that I lent to someone, and they returned it. And it was one of those knives where you lend a knife to somebody and say, well, I don't care if I ever get that back, it's ugly. And they brought like, here's your knife, man, I wanted you to know. I'm like, oh, thanks. So here's another one that came back to me. It's like a ghost knife, like a curse. But it was in a fishing bag. Again, he returned it. Another guy returned it without cleaning it. I stored it and didn't pay it any attention. And I'm presenting them to you the way they were returned to me, or the way they were stored, the condition. I could have cleaned everything up and had it looking beautiful, but that would have took away from the point of this video. These are the knives that you don't want to see. I don't even want to see the motherfuckers. I don't want to see the knives anymore. It has a nice little hang clip on it. I guess it's still functional, and pretty good blade. It says made in China. You can see that icon, that decal, or you know, that trademark brand, whatever it is. I don't even know. I don't think I even own another one. I think it says USF, partially serrated, whatever, man. It's just look at that design. Look at that. Gross. Okay, so here's another name brand knife. Now this is an Ontario Spec Fighter, Spec Plus Fighter. It's a fighting knife, or whatever. And then it has this is what we talked about one time, those knives that have the molded handle, and it has the give there. It's very slight, it's pretty stiff. I guess if you needed like a survival / fighting knife, this wouldn't be bad, especially if somebody gave it to you. I just don't like the design. It probably really would be a good fighting knife. I just don't like it. It never did nothing for me. It's like if a bunch of your friends are into a sports car, like, yo, that joint is hot. That's a hot, yo, that car is all, you like, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get what you guys are seeing. I don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't get this. And then it has like this super ugly sheath. This is how it was when I got it, and it's the one strap there, and then it has the leather extension, and it's a snap, and I guess there's the belt loop. I guess if you had to have like a brute knife, like a beater for fishing or whatever, this wouldn't be bad, but I don't know. I just never liked it. I put a lanyard in it. I put a paracord. Dude, it has a little loop for your leg strap. You know, dude, I don't know. I keep it 100. Gross. All right. So, hey, here we go with our Harbor Freight. I think this was from Harbor Freight. Actually, I had a Harbor Freight that somebody tried to give me. I was like, no, I already have one, and I pulled this out. And this, I think, was bigger than his. She said. And this is like a Harbor Freight knife. You see that the blade is basically held in by that screw, so it makes it definitely not a choice for anything that you want to use it for. It has the screw off bottom there, screws off, and it has a little emergency kit in it. I think it's still in there. Oh, nope, so I might have taken it out. Somebody might have taken it out and put it somewhere else. But yeah, I mean, it's don't even start me with the Jesus Christ. Now it's just, I'm ashamed. I'm offended by some of these knives and the fact that I own them, and I have a channel that does knives. And look at this sheath. Look at this sheath. Oh my God. Like the seats from a 73 Nova or something. I don't know what is going on with me. Now, Here's a knife that I actually liked. I like this knife. I like the sheath. I like the knife. I liked everything about it. And let me tell you what happened. When I got this knife, you see this blue right here. That is the color of the handle. So this is a Condor knife, camp knife. The only thing that was off about it was it had a blue handle. And then I went on the internet, this is about 10 years ago, and I watched a guy do camo paint on the blade. So I taped the blade off. You see where I taped it off with the shiny part of the blade? I taped the blade off, and I did this 3-color camo paint where I made these designs with the torn tape, and I did it and whatever, and it turned out pretty good. I actually like the knife. It's like a light camp knife. It's really light. It's a bend that, you know, I wouldn't trust it as like anything really super heavy. It's definitely not a chopper. It's a cutter. It's a cutter. It's a prep knife. But that blue handle pissed me off so bad. So I painted the handle when I painted the knife. The paint started coming off. I did it again. The paint still started coming off. With the second time I actually used a paint that was supposed to attach to plastic or rubber, and no, did not work. So eventually I just electrical tape wrapped the handle for use. I took it fishing a couple times. I did take it fishing. The paint that I put on the blade seemed to have held up, but of course you see it started to give there. I like the knife. I just think I uglified it by taping it up and then putting the paint on it. Maybe I should have just left it blue. I don't know. I was young. I was younger. But great sheath. Condor makes great sheaths. Leather sheath, stacked leather, double stitched, and then this swivel for your belt. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. You got the little light duty loop for your putting it, tying around your thigh or whatever. I think this is the knife that I've done the most to uglify. I uglified this knife. I did that. But it's one of the knives, like, I ain't pulling this out to show. Like, let me see a nice knife. I'm like, ooh, not that one. So whatever. Now again, here is, I think this is a Air Force tactical. This is Ontario, and again, it says made in Japan. It doesn't have, oh yeah, it does have it. You know, I thought it had it somewhere else on a knife, that it was Ontario Air Force survival knife or whatever. But this is how it came to me 20 years ago. I think I found it somewhere, and I took the stacking off to try to clean the knife or redo. I don't know what I was doing. I was like 20 years ago. And I tried to put the stacking back in order. It fell on the floor, so all the stackings are out of order. I put the bolt back on that the guy had on there. It just sucked. It has this old wooden kabuki type sheath that he had it in, and oh man, this thing is a mess. This is like, oh, I mean, 2 o'clock in the morning, you at the bar, you would not take this home. This ain't going home. Like, I was like, I'm not that desperate. This is an ugly knife. Again, you see the rust it was stored. I forgot all about it, and I don't know. Maybe one day I'll do something like make a spear with it or redo the handle, because that's still pretty good steel. That's just pretty good steel. It says Japan, so what's that, 440 you figure? You never know. But right now, oof, boy. And finally, man, again, in the class of knives that let's say I saved the best for last, or the most confusing for last. I don't know how I feel about this knife. I'll tell you why. The sheath is pretty good for the kind of knife that it is. But what in the Prince of Persia? You got that colored wood insert. I guess it's supposed to be like a knuckle guard. At least my hand does fit in it. But look at that blade. Look at that blade. I guess that could be tactical. It's definitely sharp enough. I could tell you now, it is sharp. I had a guy sharpen all of my stuff, and I remember when I got this. I think I got this with the other ugly knife. I think I got them both together from the guy I put the whatever. But this one I never liked. I never liked that one. But this one I actually kind of liked a little bit because it seemed to have, shit hit the fan, tactical implications. Like it could be used. Probably some choil there would have been pretty good. Some finger grooves, but it's definitely a tactical knife. But I go through this period where I look at it and I go, and then, and then, and then, and then, and I kind of keep going back and forth with it. I really don't know. I guess if you had to put your finger on it, I would say tactical knife, probably a pretty good tactical knife, but I guess the thing would be when you pulled it out, friends, the reaction that everybody faced would kind of tell you where you are at that moment. It's a single piece of steel. It's what we call, what I used to call, or what I do call, the minimalist. It's a Chippewa. Again, great blade sharpness. It starts there and it goes all the way up here. And they didn't sharpen the top. That little part right there where they could have. As you see, now this one I would say I was thinking ahead because I actually did put. This doesn't even look like oil. That looks like some kind of grease. There. That I stored it pretty good, and the sheath held up. I remember the sheath started giving, and I actually ran some really light paracord through it, and this is like 20 years ago. And that thing held up. It held up. There's no cracking. And you know what? I do remember. I put like some kind of horse soap wax or something on there for the leather, and I really layered it on there, like lathered it on there, and then it stayed in a plastic bag for like a year, and then eventually I kind of took it out and had it with some other stuff storing it, and even the snaps, even if you look at the snap right there, you can still see the grease in there. So I did crazy stuff with this, but again, sort of like if you was filming an apocalypse movie, an apocalyptic movie, you would say, "Oh, we need that for one of the props." But so there it is. So I'll keep that on the screen, and I'll pull my other favorite ugly knife. I mean, I'll go out with them. I'll go to the movies at night with them, but I ain't gonna get seen in the daytime with them. I'm telling you right now. So, guys, that's gonna do it for my ugly knife video. I have more. I would have to put my hands on it, but again, this is about the choices you make. When you're young, you make choices. You grab stuff and it appeals to you then as time goes on, you learn more about metals. You learn more about use of knives, ease of use, potential uses, the different manufacturers. You learn about stuff and you start kind of narrowing your field of the kind of stuff you would even put in your collection. Because look, you collect like crazy when you're young, and then as time goes on, you find that you've collected all of this stuff that you can't even or wouldn't even want to give away. And that's where we find ourselves. And if you're a real collector, you're out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You find yourself not wanting to, I don't know what's up with all this lint. Well, lint from the knives. But yeah, you find yourself not even, you're looking at your collection sometimes and go, what the hell what is going on? And that's where we at here. So, but don't shame me. So, yeah, I had to beep that out. So, in any event, guys, listen, it's been fun. I've opened my soul up to you and showed you my shame. Listen, I got some other stuff coming up. I got to go in the boxes again, and we got to get back to it. It's been fun. And hey, don't forget, cut away ugly, I guess you could say. And Yeah, be careful out there. Peace.